may not believe me, but I didn't know what a book tag video is up until last week. I'm not sure if I know what it means now clearly, but I watched some videos and I basically have to answer some questions. I took most of the questions from Sarah Caroldi's video and from Larry's video, but I also asked you to ask me some questions you'd like me to answer. But first, let's check my Goodreads and Fable account. I just imported all my Goodreads data into Fable. So here are my accounts. Goodreads says I read 34 books this year, but Fable says I read 33. Don't know what happened there. I read most in January and June. Obviously, romance was my most read genre. Then we have fantasy and young adult. My average rating is 3.9, so I'm not that harsh. Now get some coffee, get some snacks, sit your ass down, and let's yap for a bit. Best book you've read so far in 2025. I feel like it is so unfair to just choose one book. I have so many favorite books that I loved for different reasons. I fell in love with the ACOTAR series, and A Court of Mist and Fury and Wings in Ruin were my absolute favorites. I haven't read the last one yet. Also, Powerless. It was such an engaging book, and the ending was so annoying, but at the same time so good. It had everything I like in books. I love the deadly trial trope. I would read any book that has deadly trial. I love it, and I want to continue this series. I've already read Powerful, which again I liked a lot, but I wouldn't call it my favorite. The Love Hypothesis is one of my all-time rom-com favorites. It made me giggle like nothing else. Fourth Wing also has a special place in my heart because it was one of my first romanticies, and it literally made me feel like I was in that story. I felt like I was going to get my first dragon. But if I were to take into account every single aspect, writing style, plot, cringiness, suspense, all that, I feel like ACOTAR won my heart. The worst book you've read so far in 2025. So I'm tempted to say The Ministry of Time, but it's not really fair because I only read 20% and DNF'd it. So the worst book I've read, If You Had Been With Me, is by far the worst one that I consider a book, and you'll understand what I mean in a second. So this book, the writing style, I just couldn't, no. I felt like I was reading the thoughts of a 12-year-old. Nothing actually happened for 80% of the book, and in the last 20%, the author figuratively punched me in the face. It was definitely not worth it for me personally. Now, the actual worst books are Unhinged by Vera Valentine and Stuffed by Sylvia Marrow. Hopefully you do not know what these books are about. But if you do, don't look at me like that. I read them for a video. What's your excuse? For who doesn't know, the MMCs are a door and a pillow. I feel like there's no need for further explanation. I'm also reading Den of Vipers right now. I should probably say I am struggling, fighting for my life to go through with the book because I hate Roxy, the FMC. She is so insufferable. And 5 Men? Not really my cup of tea. Next two questions are about sequels. And girl, I have an issue with continuing series. I read the first book and then I want to come back to it later. And later has not come yet. Let's see, best sequel you've read so far in 2025. I'm back with the ACOTAR series here. These two were by far the best sequels. Mist of Fury was such a surprise after the first book of ACOTAR because the first book was kind of slow, and this one like really made it worth it. Oh, and Iron Flame was very good as well. Now, the worst sequel I've read this year, Unravel Me, but not because it is that bad. It's because I expected more and it didn't really deliver. It was dragged out for probably 200 pages. I thought that the first 4 weeks that were described in the book were actually 4 months. Nonetheless, I still want to read the series and I feel like it is a very, very good series. It just picks up slower. Probably with Ignite Me, it's going to start getting better. At least that's what I heard. New release you haven't read yet but want to. Girl, don't get me started. I have so many books I want to read, I do not have enough time for it. I started reading not long ago and I am struggling to catch up. I'm excited to read Enchantra, but I'll have to finish Phantasma. I want to read Releasing 10, but for that I'll have to start reading the whole entire Boys of Thomas series. Rebel and the Witch, but I'll have to read Heartless Hunter first. Another one is Watch Me, but I'll have to finish the whole entire Shatter Me series before. Obviously Fearless, but I'll have to finish the rest of the series first. All the new Ellie Hazelwood books, Sunrise on the Reaping, First Time Caller. As you can tell, I have many other books to worry about before getting to the new releases. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm not sure though. Maybe the last novella from the Powerless series, Fearful? Though again, I mean, I'm excited for it, but I'm more excited to read the other books. Now, I don't know any other book releases for the next half of the year because I am struggling with the already released books. Biggest surprise of the year. So this will not be the surprise you are expecting, but I was surprised by Emily Henry's books in a not very good way. I know I only read 2 of her books, Funny Story and Bitch Read, but it was enough to make me avoid the rest of her books. And it has nothing to do with the writing style. I feel like she actually really knows how to write a book. You don't get bored, it's easy to go through, so that's not the issue. Her storylines are very enjoyable, but the way she structures the ending of her books and the third act breakups, it's just beyond me. I do not understand why she chooses miscommunication that involves the ex. It makes me so damn angry because the miscommunication in her book, the cause, it's sheer stupidity. Those characters seem to miscommunicate on purpose or they are just plainly stupid. That's how unrealistic it is. I mean, that's my opinion. I actually bought Happy Place in physical format and I am avoiding reading this book because I just do not want to read almost all the book just to get to the third act breakup and get angry and feel like, what was the point of reading the book? I'm sorry, I really wanted to love Emily Henry's books, but I just cannot. Are her other books the same? Favorite new author, debut or new to you? Most authors are new to me, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm literally a baby compared to all the other book content creators out there. I try my best to read as many books as possible because I love it, obviously, but also because I want to come up with new books to talk about with you. So for now, my favorite authors are Sarah J. Maas and Ellie Hazelwood. Sarah J. Maas has the perfect writing style for me. I do not feel like I'm getting bored, even though I'm a person that gets bored very easily. Like if nothing happens, I'm gonna DNF the book. But with her books, I do not get bored. I do not understand why. Ellie Hazelwood has become my comfort read right now. Newest fictional crush, yeah. Recent and Aaron Warner. Oh, and Cassian. Cassian girl. A book that made me cry. So I ate shit a handful of times on my channel. And that is when I said I do not cry when reading books. Because apparently I cry. A lot. It just has to be the right book. Books have literally changed me, I swear. Not only do I cry while reading books, I also cry when I watch movies and series, which didn't used to happen all that much. The first book that ever made me cry was A Court of Mist and Fury, specifically when Recent opened up. Everything he went through and what he felt for Feyre, it was so raw. He put his soul on a silver platter and I bawled my eyes out. But A Court of Wings and Ruin had me ugly cry. Straight up ugly crying. I don't want to give any spoilers, but if you've read the book, you know why I was crying that bad towards the end. What I like is that Sarah J. Maas, whenever she has something really bad happen, things change quite quickly back to normal, and it is enough for me to feel dreadful about what's happening, but not to the extent that it is too much and I get angry. Rebecca Yarros tends to have cliffhangers that are very upsetting to me. Another book that made me cry is Powerful, and even though it is not my favorite ever book, it holds a special place in my heart. I felt connected to it in a way I haven't felt before. It is special because I truly resonated with Adina. I understood every single one of her thoughts and actions, and when it comes to other books and other FMCs, I always keep wondering, why did she say that? I would never react that way. How could she keep that to herself? But with Adina, I'm literally clapping as she is in the book. So it was surreal how much I felt like I was her. I cried so much when I read Mac's point of view of the ending. It was heartbreaking. I do not want to go through that again. And with this, I actually answered one of the questions you asked me. I resonate the most with Adina, but not completely. She was not about fighting. She didn't want to fight at all. And I'm not really like that. Somehow I haven't actually yet found a character I relate to completely. Book that made you happy. The Love Hypothesis made me smile like an idiot. I actually read it in one sitting and I was giggling the whole entire time. I had to physically pause and calm myself down. Recently, I also read Love on the Brain, which is similar to The Love Hypothesis. It was also very, very giggly. The Love Hypothesis is still on the first spot here. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. By far, Fearless. It literally gives off princess vibes. I took off the sleeve because how could I not expose this? I don't know if part of the reason I'm excited is that I've never had a hardcover book before, but still, it is very, very beautiful. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh my god, I literally cannot answer this question without making this video hours long. Girl, everything I haven't read in my bookshelf and many, many more books. Okay, let's try to cut it down to the absolute must. I need some good thrillers. I'll get The Silent Patient soon enough. I also want to read What Lies Between Us and Rock, Paper, Scissors. I want to finish the Throne of Glass series, ACOTAR series, Powerless series, Shatter Me series. That's a lot of books. I want to get into more romanticities like Quicksilver and Guild and Six of Crows. Also Nocticadia. I've had that book on my TBR for such a long time. I want to get into some historical fiction like The Nightingale and also Binding 13 because I really want to know the hype behind this book. I'm sorry, but I literally cannot answer this question because I overestimate my reading capacity by far and I get way too excited about books. 5-star reads of the year. So we have obviously The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and A Court of Mist and Fury. Powerless, I don't know, powerful. It's a novella, so it doesn't compare to Powerful or books, you know, as a novella, but I think it deserves a 5-star for the emotional wreck it left out of me. The Serpent and the Wings of Night was another 5-star read, and I'm currently reading the sequel, which is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Not as interesting as the first book yet, but I'm not that far into the book, so we'll see. I also gave 5 stars to The Sweetest Oblivion, though I think this might actually be a 4-star now. The same thing with The Predator. I read only the first book. Yeah, 4 stars. Those were not 5 stars. What books you want to reread? I'm gonna say something that is not very acceptable in the book world. I am not a rereader. No, I haven't ever read a book twice. Well, except for Twisted Love, which I've read because I couldn't remember a thing from the book and I wanted to give the Twisted series a try. So Twisted Love doesn't count in the sense you are referring to. I feel like I have so many new books I want to read and so many new stories and characters I want to meet that I do not feel like going through the same book twice, though there are books which I would love to be part of the story again, if that makes any sense. Now we have the questions you asked me on Instagram and on YouTube. I picked out only the questions that were in the style of the mid-year book tag type of video. So not general questions, but I'm going to do a Q&A soon, if you'd like that, and I can answer many more of your questions. I'd actually love to do a Q&A, but let me know in the comment section if you'd enjoy that. What's your favorite FMC? I'm not sure yet. Haven't found my favorite FMC. I feel like I need more character depth. Want her to be warrior, but I also want a bit of more of a bubbly personality. I love Feyre, but I don't think she's my favorite one. Books you think were overhyped, perfectly hyped, and underhyped. Overhyped, Twisted Love and Twisted Games. I read both of them, right? I like the idea of Twisted Games better than I liked the Twisted Love idea, but this one was a bit more boring. They're not bad books. They're just not my type. The spice is not up my alley. I did like the plot twist in Twisted Love. The Housemaid was also a bit overhyped. I liked it. It was a 3.5 star, I think. But it was rather simple and I didn't like how it ended. It felt a bit forced as to allow for the second book, but it wasn't bad. Perfectly hyped. I think that Powerless, ACOTAR, and Throne of Glass were perfectly hyped. I don't think I have any underhyped books for this year. Maybe The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Biggest disappointment. Probably Emily Henry's books, as I've said. Cruel Prince was a disappointment, but I'm still gonna continue the series. Wild Eyes, again, a bit disappointing. My favorite series. As I said, right now, ACOTAR is my favorite series. I really like Powerless as well, but Throne of Glass, I feel like this is going to get very, very good. The first book wasn't mind-blowing. It was okay. I enjoyed it. I'm expecting it to be one of my favorite series. I don't know why. I feel like the story can get so much better. I can't wait to get the rest of the books. Out of all the books, which one would you like to reread for the first time? I would reread Fourth Wing for the first time. I feel like it's not the best book out there, but it was the first book that gave me this certain feeling. It was very intriguing and fast-paced, and there are dragons, and I love dragons. I enjoy more violent books. How can I explain this? In Throne of Glass, you know, the trials weren't deadly. People didn't die in the trials. If we're gonna have people fighting for higher stakes, I want people to die. This sounds really bad. If everyone ends up happy in the end and people are not fighting for their life, literally, then is it really that high stakes, you know? Powerless was a bit more brutal, but still not enough. And I feel like Fourth Wing, or the Empyrean series, had enough death and bad things happening. Not many people could go through that and survive in the end. And it made it that much more intriguing and full of suspense, because you didn't know who's gonna get killed and who's gonna survive. It had the perfect amount of danger so that the reward feels worth it. There were things I didn't like about the Empyrean series, quite a lot of them, but it was the only one that made me feel so engulfed into the world. I was a bit depressed after Onyx Storm. That cliffhanger was a low blow. What is a book you shouldn't like or enjoy reading but you did? Oh my god, girl, Little Stranger. I shouldn't have liked that book. Well, this is a half-truth because I didn't like the second part of the book. I only liked the first part. Up until the dad scene, I liked it. The dad scene, girl, that was way too much for me. Which book did you buy because of TikTok? All of them. YouTube and TikTok are my preferred search engines when it comes to books. But if you're referring to books that I've seen on my For You page so much that I had to give them a try, then no, most of them. What book most out of your comfort zone you read this year? I haven't really gotten out of my comfort zone this year, which I am planning on changing. I've read mostly my favorite genres, and I've picked up books that I knew I would like. So I was kind of stuck in the romantasy loop. I'm not complaining, I really like them, but I really want to get some more thrillers. I just bought Babel or whatever, which is fiction, and it sounds very interesting. I can't wait to read it. It's one of my boyfriend's books out by Quirino. I want to give it a try as soon as possible. What's a series you started and didn't enjoy but will be continuing regardless? Yeah, that would be the Folk of the Air series. I read the first book, The Cruel Prince, and I was profusely disappointed. But then you started threatening me and telling me that I have to read the rest of the series. So I got The Queen of Nothing and The Weekend King, and I am going to give it another try. They have the Book of Azrael, which I'm not sure if I'm going to continue. Not that I didn't like it, but again, the first book wasn't that great. How many book series are you in the middle of? Too many. The Cruel Prince, The Book of Azrael, Throne of Glass, Shatter Me, ACOTAR, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I'm currently reading, Caraval, the Twisted series, Powerless, The Predator, The Sweetest Oblivion. Isn't that a series? I think that's enough. That's mainly it. My brain is a scramble. Which book got you into a book slump? I had a month during this year in which I got into the worst ever reading slump. And I was reading The Ministry of Time and Wild Eyes at the same time. As I've said, The Ministry of Time was not for me. I picked up that book because I wanted to film a video, which I did, reading Haley Pham's favorite books, and this one was not for me at all. I DNF'd it at 20%, but it did get me into a reading slump, so I picked up Wild Eyes, because I thought, you know, everyone is talking about it. Wild Side, I think, was just released then, and I was like, you know what, I want to start this series. And Wild Eyes, it was a sweet romance, but it was boring for me. I understand why people like it, but I don't know, it just didn't click for me. It got me deeper into the reading slump. I finished it, but it took me 1 month to finish that book. Also, the spice was not it. Too many details. I've read books with spice that is detailed, but sometimes it just feels like it's too much, and this is one of those books. What were your least liked books, any genre? I already answered this question more or less with the worst book I've ever read and what I didn't like, so let's talk about a genre I disliked, and that is dark rom-coms. So I read Butcher and Blackbird, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, and I feel like it didn't do any of the jobs right. It wasn't dark enough, and it wasn't funny enough, and not because of the writer herself, because a lot of people liked the book. I feel like this is a very subjective, very personal thing. I just dislike dark rom-com. I feel like we're mixing two genres that contradict each other, which can be great, but I personally don't like it, and I hate Rowan a lot. Not the point of the entire ramble here, but I just can't stand Rowan. Also, the spice was not it. If we have the word milking, it's not for me. Alright girlies, this was the video. This was more of a talking, yapping type of video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I've never done one of these before, but I liked yapping. So hopefully you did too. I would love to start making more wrap-up videos or TBR style type of videos, but I'm wondering if that would be boring for you or redundant, since I still talk about the books I'm reading while I'm reading them in the reading vlogs. So then would you like a wrap-up video at the end of every month? So please do tell me in the comment section if you'd enjoy more videos like this one. Thank you for watching, bye!